I can still remember the smell of freshly brewed Turkish coffee in the mornings. My parents being from Europe, this was their go-to coffee and still is to this day. It's also literally remained exactly the same for hundreds of years. No fancy flavorings, brewing methods, or variations like pumpkin spice latte. It's just Turkish coffee. And you only need one special coffee brewing machine to make it yourself at home. That machine is the Cezve. And today I'm going to use it to make the perfect Turkish coffee 4 ways. Let's get to it. So, a Turkish lady once told me that if you see someone with a Cezve and it's got all these dings on it, like you can see here, you can bet your that Turkish coffee is going to be fire. This Cezve is made out of steel, but more commonly you can find the Turkish Cezves made out of copper. Both work well though. But aside from the pot, we're going to need some good quality and finely ground coffee. And I'm using this brand called Berzula. You can find pre-ground Turkish coffee at your local European stores, or large retailers like Wally World should carry it too. Otherwise, for maximum freshness, you can grind your own coffee bean, but just make sure that coffee grinder is set to maximum grind mode. You want it as fine as possible. First, I'm going to be making a standard black coffee. We'll need a little coffee cup, also called a demi-tasse cup, which come in different shapes and sizes but are generally meant to be used with smaller and stronger coffees like espresso for a bolder, concentrated flavor. Which means no, you can't use your favorite cat mug for this type of coffee. I'll be using this red Cezve today instead because it's slightly smaller and meant for 2 to 3 servings, and since there's 2 of us here today, I'll be making 2 cups of coffee at a time. For a single serving, ideally you'll have a smaller Cezve pot. To start, I will fill the coffee cup all the way with cold filtered water for every person having a coffee and transfer it over into the Cezve. Using filtered water will give you a better result than just using tap water. Next, I'll add in 2 heaping teaspoons of coffee, 1 heaping teaspoon for each person. And today we're not using any measuring tools. No scales and cups. Making Turkish coffee is an art form. However, a good rule of thumb is 1 to 10, so 10 grams of coffee for every 100 ml of water, and adjust from there. And if you like your coffee stronger, you can always add a bit more, and vice versa. With my oven, I'm going to set the burner to medium. If you're using a gas stove, however, you can set it on low. This method is all about low and slow all the way through. I'll gently stir the coffee in, and now we wait. After a few minutes, it's going to start bubbling on the outer edges and begin rising slowly. It's essential not to let it go to a full rolling boil, or you'll be added to the Turkish coffee making wall of shame. But no, all that beautiful foam will disappear, which is commonly regarded as a benchmark of a great Turkish coffee. After it starts to rise, we will quickly remove it from the heat and spoon a bit of the foam into each cup like this. Then put it back on the stove and let it froth up once more to help release those flavors and aromas a bit more. Then we'll carefully pour into each of our cups bit by bit, so one person doesn't get all that sessy foam and the other one gets all the sludge. And our first coffee is looking textbook. You can see the layer of foam sitting on top, and after taking a little sip, it's got the strong and bold flavor we're looking for. That's what you get when you cook it nice and slow. Now, if you're serving this to guests, it shows respect to serve the eldest member or the guest of honor first. Ideally, you have the coffee with a glass of water on the side as a palate cleanser, or a treat which my sous chef over here is carrying called Turkish Delight. It's a sweet and chewy treat that complements the strong and often bitter taste of the Turkish coffee. And a little fun fact, since we're also doing a deep dive on traditions. Once the coffee is finished, it was very popular back in the day to do coffee cup reading. Today we have TikTok and Instagram, and people just don't practice these kinds of traditions as much anymore. At least I haven't seen it since I was a kid. But this would be done by experienced family members, usually by mothers or grandmothers, who would read the cups of their loved ones or friends as a way of providing guidance or insight for their life. You could even find specialists who offer services as fortune tellers to read it for you. I thought it'd be fun to do a quick one for you now because, you know, who knows when the next time you'll see it again. One way to do it is with less sludge at the bottom. This would generally give a clear reading, so before the sludge cools, you swirl the cup around like this and cover it for a couple minutes to dry, at which point we take a look inside and read our fortune based on the lines formed on the inner edges. I'm not very good at this, but I'll do my best. But by the looks of it, it says, "Everyone who views this video will leave a like and subscribe. You will have 1 million followers soon. You are the master of Turkish coffee." Interesting. And if it doesn't come true, I'm done with coffee readings. But the second way is letting the sludge settle a bit longer, as you see here.
Come on, man.
I just need it.
This the lamb.
Where's the lamb sauce?
This one kind of looks ominous, so I'm just going to skip it altogether. Now, for our second variation, I'm going to make the coffee with cardamom, which is a popular spice in Turkish coffee, especially in regions such as the Middle East. If you're grinding your own coffee, you can grind the cardamom pod together with it. But if you're using pre-ground like me, break open a cardamom pod and place the seeds in your Cezve. I'm going to repeat the same process and put in 2 heaping teaspoons of coffee, 2 coffee cups of water. I'll mix everything in and place on medium heat. Rise, my coffee, rise. Pour in a bit of foam, have it rise once more, and it's ready to serve. Making your coffee this way will add a hint of spice and a floral undertone. It's also quite subtle and doesn't overpower the coffee. This is easily a 9 out of 10 on flavor. But if you're like me, you like a little sweetness in your coffee. I also love cream, but you never ever put milk or cream in a Turkish coffee, or else you're gonna get a good old jezva smack. So now we're making with sugar. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of sugar for each person drinking a coffee, or depending on how sweet they like it. And the key here is to not stir it in right away. Let the sugar caramelize for a few minutes on the bottom of the jezva before stirring in the coffee sitting on the top. One person wants sugar and the other one doesn't, well then just make it separate. Or just give them some sugar cubes on the side. Or just tell them to have some Turkish delight. God, people are so picky. Now for some reason, if you're not getting this foam and it's not rising, especially if you're starting a brew from cold water, it's usually one of a few reasons. Your coffee grind is too coarse, the water to coffee ratio is wrong, you're heating too quickly, or even the size of your jezva is wrong. But after you get it right a few times, you'll be on your way to making it perfect every single time. So this coffee is slightly sweeter, the sugar was infused nice and slow. I also feel extremely alert right now for some reason. And that brings me to the final method. This method is by far the fastest and easiest way to make it. And that's to boil the water by itself first. For this, you really just have to pay attention as the foam rises rapidly. And after making the coffee on low and slow mode so many times today, it kind of caught me off guard too. But once the water boils, we take it off the burner, add 2 spoons of coffee, give it a quick stir. I turn off my burner at this point, but as you can see, it starts to rise almost instantly when you put it back on the heat. I'll let it do that a couple more times, and that's it, it's done. Giving it a taste, it's definitely a bit lighter than the first variations we tried on low and slow heat, but it's still really good. You can also adjust the strength by the amount of coffee you put in. I also generally just drink the softest coffee ever, so it's still strong enough for me. So which way is the best way to brew the perfect Turkish coffee? Well, my answer to that would be simply the way you enjoy it the most. If you want to add cream to your Turkish coffee, then so be it. Just don't let anyone see you doing it, or you will get that jezva smack. Now, to care for my epic brewing machine, I'm going to take a cloth and some really hot water and give it a good wipe down. Treat it well and use it as intended, and it'll last you a lifetime. After making all this coffee, it seems I earned myself another ding, another notch to my coffee making experience level. I think you earned one here today as well. If someone can tell me the best way to neutralize all this caffeine though, I'd appreciate that. I don't think I'm gonna sleep tonight. So these are a few different ways to make the perfect Turkish coffee at home. Try them all and see which you prefer best. Make small adjustments to your liking, and it just might become your go-to morning ritual. But as always guys, thank you for watching and interacting with my previous videos. I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you on the next one.
Oh, god damn it.